Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I am here at the News Forum where all voices matter. Our next guest has authored and updated a book entitled The Armchair Economist. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. Dr. Stephen Landsburg is a professor of economics at the University of Rochester, New York. Welcome to Boom and Bust, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, just first question, what prompted you to write this book in the first place?
Well, The Armchair Economist is a book, the first edition of which was written probably 30 years ago. And it came from going to lunch every day with a bunch of really fascinating economists who we used to spend our lunch times figuring out how the world worked and how we could make it work better. And there was so many things said at that table that seemed to me to be so fascinating and so brilliant. I wanted to share them with a wider audience.
So, was this something like that you decided that people didn't have economics in their everyday lives? Is that part of the discussion?
You know, at the time, there were so many books on the shelves at Barnes and Noble and all the bookstores about popular science, explaining physics, explaining biology, explaining evolution, and making it sound, first of all, conveying a lot of information, and second of all, making it sound like fun to learn about these things. And at that time, there was no similar book about economics. I really think that uh, this was the first. And since then, there have been a great variety of others, some of them very good and some of them less good. Uh, but The Armchair Economist, fortunately, did quite well 30 years ago when I first wrote it. But over time, it became a little out of date. There were too many references to cassette tapes and too many references to Walter Mondale. Maybe your Canadian guests don't even know who that was, but he
I
was a
remember. I
American.
remember. Yeah.
Okay. Um, More recently, I updated it for the 21st century. I've also written other books about everyday economics since then. My most recent one is called "Can You Outsmart an Economist,"
Mhm.
which is a collection of brain teasers, which I hope are fun to work on, and where you learn a little economics by working out the solutions to the puzzles.
Yeah, this seems to be a trend, though. I'm thinking of Freakonomics as another good example of that, where economists or those in the know are seeking to explain human behavior. Is that part of it as well?
Absolutely, though, I will make a distinction. I reviewed Freakonomics for the Wall Street Journal,
Okay.
and within an hour of my review appearing, it shot up to number 1 on Amazon, so I take a little bit of credit for Steve Levitt, the author, has always been very gracious about giving me that credit for getting Freakonomics started on its road to phenomenal success. I love the book, and I wrote a review that said I love the book, but it's different from my books in the sense that I would say Freakonomics is out to dazzle you with amazing facts, and I'm out to dazzle you with amazing logic.
Mm.
I am out to show you the way economists reason and the way we figure out how things have to be, uh, independent of what we actually observe in the world. Often before we observe, we can figure out how things have to go. So Freakonomics, I think, does an absolutely wonderful job, and it's a gripping book, and everyone should read it. But it's mostly about things that economists have discovered. My books are
Right.
a little more about the process of how economists discover things.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. You're teaching someone how to fish rather than giving them the fish. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I accept that. I
Yeah,
accept that.
yeah, yeah. We got a minute before the first break, but why do people need a basic understanding of economics and finance? Let's put it that way.
First of all, they need it, of course, just to organize their daily lives. For all the reasons that everybody immediately thinks of. But there are a couple other reasons that I want to emphasize. First of all, I just think it's tremendous fun to learn about economics, and many people find that implausible. But I'm out to prove them, to show them that they're wrong, and to show them that it can just be fun to think about things in a new way. And secondly, I want to argue that economics is the science that requires us to think about other people's problems, to think about other people's the incentives that other people are facing, the problems other people are facing, how they can tackle those problems, and how we can help them. And in that sense, economics is the science of compassion. It's the science of figuring out how to help other people accomplish their goals, as well as how to help yourself accomplish your goals.
So not the dismal science then that it is made out to be. That's
I
my
I
takeaway.
I don't think it needs to be at all. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it can be both fun and illuminating, and, again, it can make us, uh,
sure.
uh, wiser in our own behalf and wiser on the behalf of our
We're
society.
going to take a brief break, sir. We'll be back with you after these messages.